Kristen Redmond, and today we're going to go over the planetary aspects that are surrounding us and affecting us for this upcoming week of December 18th through the 24th. I almost said October there. It ain't October. It certainly isn't October, but maybe it's a throwback to October in a time where we really focus on the endings that we have, because this is a week that is all about new beginnings. We have a lot happening astrologically in the skies this week, and they all center around the new beginnings that 2017 was meant to initiate. Some of the most pivotal events that have happened in 2017 have really happened in this last quarter of the year. And 2017 was a year that was, in numerology, a 1 year, a year where new things were supposed to happen. Endings were occurring and new beginnings were meaning to take place. And here we go into this massive transit that happens this week. This is probably the biggest transit that we have as Saturn moves into its home sign of Capricorn this week on Tuesday. That really brings a lot of solid ground under our feet in ways that it hasn't for a couple of decades, right? This is something that brings a lot of peace of mind and stability to the chaos that has been going on since Saturn was going through Sagittarius through 2014 onward. So we'll get more into that in a second here. Let's just kind of start in general with all the other things that we have happening this week. We have so much going on. We have, of course, that happening with Saturn and Sagittarius, but a lot of this is focused around new beginnings. New beginnings that come from this amazing, wonderful last new moon that we have that starts on Monday the 18th. New moons always represent new beginnings, but this one's especially powerful with the energy that we have thanks to the winter solstice that happens this week as well. And, of course, the solstices, just like the eclipses in astrology, represent endings and beginnings as well. We also have Mercury ending its retrograde phase, putting our minds and our communications and our feet moving forward where there were delays. We also have the sun moving into a new sign as well, and Venus as well. So there's so much energy for new beginnings, and a lot of this is centralized around the sign of Capricorn. Capricorn is the star player of the week. Capricorn is stability. Capricorn is structure. It's ruled by that planet of Saturn, and what Capricorn represents in our life is how we set those boundaries for ourselves and for others. It's the discipline that we set for ourselves. It's the standards that we set for ourselves so that we have a good standing in the community. It's our career. It's how we work. And it's not just, oh, my day-to-day operations. This is what my soul's purpose is here to do type of career. So as the sun transits into Capricorn this week, it starts shining a light on those areas for us. Where are my foundations weak? Where am I unhappy in my career, right? But especially when it comes to the structures aspect, that is something that 2017 has been illuminating regardless, hasn't it? And those areas where there were weaknesses and where those structures weren't working anymore, the universe forced them to come to an end. You fill in the blank where that may have been. Maybe it was a relationship. Maybe it was your career. Maybe it was a friendship. Maybe it was a working partnership, a business, losing somebody close to you. The universe has decided that it's time to shift up those structures that are under our feet and move us into a cycle now where we haven't been for a couple of decades, into something that brings us greater happiness. Something that's meant for where our soul is intended to be now in its journey. And as the sun moves into Capricorn this week, it's going to illuminate that for us all. But in the process before it does, just like it does in that time where the winter solstice happens, and that's on Thursday, obviously it's the same time. When the sun moves into Capricorn, it represents that time. It's the time when we focus on the death and rebirth cycle that happens in our lives naturally. And this has been a year of that, endings that initiate these new beginnings. And I think as we bring this year to a close, this last new moon is the very symbolic nature of those endings and the new beginnings that we're looking forward to. And they're new beginnings that really are going to be fitting for us. Like I said, let's go back to that Saturn in Capricorn. This is the big event, man. This is the big event I've been talking about with nearly every one of my clients this year. Everywhere I look, and when I see Saturn transiting into its home sign of Capricorn, where it hasn't been for almost 30 years, okay? Well, it hasn't been there for 30 years. When I look at that in my clients' charts, I see the massive impacts that it's going to bring, where it is pushing out the old and bringing a lot of security and stability into the new. And of course, I'd have to look at your chart to tell you exactly where it's making the biggest impact for you. But I think your soul knows where that Saturn is coming to. It's almost like all of us have felt it, because since 2014, we have been feeling a lot of upheaval. There's a lot of things that have been thrown to us and thrown at us that have shaken us down to that foundation of what we are, who we are. Who am I is what we've been asking ourselves over this past couple of years. What do I want? What can I stand? What are my new boundaries that I'm setting moving forward for me so I can be happier? So I can make this life what it's supposed to be. And as we have muddled through this year and learned where we need to stand our ground, stand up, walk away, whatever it is that we need to do, here we go into this last leg where this new moon energy happens. The Saturn and Sagittarius energy happens. The Saturn going into Capricorn energy happens. And as it does, it brings stability as we walk through these new doors. That's the big thing about it. And it's not just on a personal level that the next 3 years as Saturn moves through its home sign of Capricorn brings. It's also on a global level, and it's on a national level as well. Think back to 1988 through 1991, where things were a little bit more secure, right, financially, where we were in terms of country. And that kind of energy is coming back again, ready to bring a little bit more rules and regulations, most likely, but in the same sense, they're going to ultimately serve us better. But what I like about it is that it's a good earthy grounding influence. Capricorn is an earthy sign, and it's the hardest working of the signs as well. So this week, not only do we have the sun moving in there, and of course that massive player Saturn moving in there as well, and I'll post another link this week that goes into detail a lot more about that. Saturn moving into Capricorn and what that's going to bring for us moving forward. I'll post that. But we also have Venus moving into Capricorn as well. Venus is the planet of love and money and harmony and balance and beauty. And as it moves into Capricorn, it helps bring good, solid, stabilizing energy to those areas as well. And it'll be there over the next few weeks. Mercury, of course, is still in Sagittarius, and it's been in its retrograde phase for the past 3 weeks. And as Mercury is in retrograde, we look to the past a lot. Our thought processes go backwards, and we look over this past year with a fine-tooth comb. And we look for those areas where we may have limited ourselves. We look for those areas where we need to explore beyond the boundaries that we've set for ourselves. And we look for the truth. We look for that light to illuminate on us and help us see the truth of the matter for what it really truly is. And this new moon this week also, because it starts out this week and it brings that energy through all of this, there is an underlying feeling of the truth being illuminated for all of us. Last week that happened as well, as Mercury and the Sun aligned. The truth was out there. You know, you can't hide from it anymore, and it came out there. I've seen it for a number of people this week where conversations were had that needed to be had. Truths were told that had to be said in order to move on and move forward and to make things better in their situations. So there it goes again this week. And I think what's wonderful too is that we have, as I mentioned earlier, the winter solstice that happens this week as well. You got some more gunk out there you want to let go? Is there some things that you're really ready to let go of? This is the time to do it in the winter solstice. It's the part where the sun is the lowest spot in the sky, the shortest day of the entire year. Now in the world of astrology, the sun represents the person, you, me. It represents us. We are the sun to our own chart and our own universe. Everything revolves around us and the decisions that we make. So in ancient times, they believed that when the sun was at its lowest point in the horizon for the year, that meant that the sun actually died and was being reborn. And in turn, we carry that energy as well. The things that we need to shed, the things that we need to die emotionally, physically, spiritually, materially, whatever it is, the things that we need to let go of disappear and they fade away in the time of the winter solstice. And in turn, we also are very isolated and reflective as well in that time as well, because think of that it is a time to really embrace that energy from the universe, that we have this capacity this week, not only to let go of these things, but to let go and know that we have stable ground waiting on the other side to help us really lay some good new foundations as well. The next day, the sun comes back a little bit more and a little bit more, and we have more light every day moving forward after that solstice. So this is a week when if you need to let go of things, let's do it. Let's do it because the energy is there. And of course, that new moon, back to that again, right? Illuminating the truth, helping us to see the truth. And a new moon is a time when the sun and the moon align and they take on one another's energies. The sun is the outer self and the moon is the inner self. So our outer self and our inner self become aligned. We see the truth and we're ready to act on our emotion and our impulse and what our intuition tells us is the best thing to do, to really break new ground and to move forward where we need to. That's behind us in the time of a new moon, but if you're not quite ready to do it yet, it's not like this is the last time to do it, but this is a fantastic week to plant those seeds out into the universe. A new moon is always the best time to set your intentions, to say those prayers and say, this is what my soul does need. This is the new beginning that I want to see. And then that little seed will germinate in time and bring you what it is that you're hoping to see. But divine timing is always at work, right? We have to understand that as well. So not only do we have that ability to plant those seeds, we know that the divine timing out there in the universe is going to make it come through when it's time for it to come through. And it's also a lot about what our mindset is at. And as Mercury leaves its retrograde phase this week, the mind is fully illuminated, right? That truth has been brought out to us, so we are able to manifest a little bit better. Our thought process is a little bit clearer and a little bit more elevated. And as a result, you manifest the things that you do want. And that's what you bring more of in. Instead of manifesting things you don't want, thinking about the things that you don't want, and then you attract that like a magnet. We don't want to be doing that. And the time of a new moon is especially when that's a more fertile time, I suppose you could say, out there in the universe, where our thoughts that radiate outward are going to be coming back to us. So this week, send out wonderful energy for that. So I think that's everything. I'm surprised I didn't yap longer about that because there's so much going on, but I think it all kind of carries that same message, one and the same. So let's pull. Oh, I didn't grab my stones. Well, I guess we'll use my little baby stone box that I always keep next to me here at my table and see which angel we have around us this week. Because this is such a pivotal week. This is like the main week of 2017. And I know that it's going to bring wonderful things for those that have had to endure a lot of upheaval and not feeling that the ground is stable under them. This is the week that things really start to change. It really does. So let's see what angel is around us this week. Hoping this is time. Right to it. Oh, isn't that cool? This is a fluorite. And the angel that is associated with a fluorite is Archangel Metatron. Archangel Metatron is the angel that clears all of our energy centers. He gets that toxic energy out of us, things that gotta go, whether it's our negative energy, our negative thoughts, or if it's those of others that get stuck in our electromagnetic field and in our chakra points or our energy centers. For those of you that aren't familiar with what the chakras are, we do have these points. in us. You can't see them on an x-ray or anything, but they're spiritually there. And when you focus on them, you understand that how our spiritual energy flows through them. At the base of our spine, we have the root chakra. The root chakra is where all of our physical needs are met. That's where our security and our fear lies. If you are overwhelmed in those areas, money, security, those matters, things that directly tie you to this earth, earthly matters, you will have issues in that area, physical issues that back up. You will have financial issues. You will have constant issues of fear that your security is threatened. If you feel that, it's time to cleanse that area. The next chakra that we have is the sacral chakra. That's in the pelvic region. That is the chakra that deals with our also our fears as well. A lot of it has to do with our self-worth. That's where addictions lie, is in the sacral chakra. That's where creativity lies, is in the sacral chakra. If you have blocks in those areas, that is where it needs to be cleared. Okay, you got lower back pains, it's because you got some sacral chakra blockages going on. Are you overindulging in areas? That's where sexual energy also is as well. So if there's blockages there, overreactions there, that's an area that needs to be cleared as well. Then we move to the sacral chakra, which is at our navel, at our belly button. That is the one of all of our confidence. Our confidence and our power lies in the solar plexus. And when we feel we don't have power or control over our lives, that is exactly the chakra that needs to be cleared. Moving upward, we go to the heart center. And the heart center chakra is absolutely, as you would imagine, that's where the love and the giving and receiving energy that is out there and inside of us comes and goes. The universal energy of give and take is exchanged through the heart center. You got a block there? Definitely need to ask for some clearing in that area as well. Chest pains, back issues as well, heart issues, obviously. Then we move up to our throat chakra. This is the area where we speak our truths, where we're heard, where we're able to say what it is we need to say. Can't say what you need to say, you feel like you're not being heard, it's because your throat chakra is blocked. Moving onward, we go to the third eye chakra, and that is where we see what is behind the scenes that we cannot see with our physical eyes. That is where our intuition lies, is in the third eye, right here. If you feel that you want to access that intuition a little bit better, you can't see what's behind the scenes, that's the area that needs to be cleared. Final chakra we have is at the top, the crown chakra. And the crown chakra is where the universal wisdom from our God comes through into the crown chakra, and we receive that wisdom, guidance, and answers. If you feel like you have headaches all the time, either this dude is blocked or the one up here is blocked as well, because your guides are trying to get through to you and get messages through to you, and they aren't able to because it's blocked. Do you have a block in those areas? Archangel Metatron is the angel that's going to come through and clear any of the blockages that are in there. Now keep in mind, it may not just be your fears, anxieties, energy that blocks these. It could be that of other people that gets blocked in there as well. So we call on Archangel Metatron. He has what is known as his Metatron's cube, and he spins it around each of our chakras. And he can do that if we ask him, only if we ask him to, and he will come through and remove those energies from you. If you have a piece of fluorite, please do grab that. If not, grab one of your quartz, crystal quartz. You could go outside and find a quartz. It's the most abundant source that we have out there in terms of stones. And that will amplify the energy and help him to act and to clear that as well. So, Archangel Metatron, let's see what your message is for this week. Obviously, you want us to clear this energy because obviously in order for us to move forward with our new beginnings, we've got to remove all of the old, right? And he's there to help assist in that as well. So, Archangel Metatron, what is your message this week? Very strongly, I feel. I have to shuffle this 3 times. Wow. Isn't this interesting? So this card here is the 4 of Earth. This is the card of the heart center. This is the one that asks us how much the scales are balanced in this area that comes through here, the give and take that our heart center has. Okay, this is going to directly impact your relationships, how you love, how you receive love. It's going to directly impact your finances, how much you give of yourself, how much you donate of your time, how much you donate of the resources that you have, and in turn, how much you are receiving. Okay. Archangel Metatron is very focused on clearing this energy this week. Of course, we all are a little bit mindful of our generosity and charity at this time of year, and I think that's being essentially called on as well. Give a little bit extra and you'll get a little bit extra in return, but that's also in the currency exchange of love that we have. The more that we can open ourselves and break down those barriers that we have in our heart center, the more able we are able to receive. So if you feel that you've been blocked because of heartache, because you've been jaded by somebody, because you've been lied to by somebody, this is the time when we review those things, and Archangel Metatron can help to remove any blocks in that area. So I'm also going to shuffle these chakra cards as well. Each one is specific to a chakra point, but it also gives us a little bit more message as well. And of course, this one's asking us to review those scales of the heart, the give and take that we do on the levels in our lives, and how we need to focus on that a little bit more and calibrate that where needed. This is a week where whatever it is we need to do to push something off that end of the scale that's weighing us down, this is going to be the week to do it right. We know that because the energy is behind us to do that, whether it's thoughts or something that's real as in a person or a job or whatever, right? So we know those scales are getting balanced. Ooh, here we go, jumping out. I can feel it. OMG, look at what this one says, balance. Oh, isn't that funny? And I see this in another layer too, because this has been a year where Libra has been such a big player. This has been such a year for our Libra friends in terms of personal happiness. They have felt renewed, rejuvenated, and their whole lives have really uplifted and shine a light on what makes them wonderful. They are the scales, okay? But we had Jupiter, the planet of luck, moving through that sign of Libra this year, which really has given those Libras a boost. But it's helped to balance the scales in our lives. And I think maybe this one is a reminder, too, that maybe that pushing off of the scale side that was a little bit too heavy has already occurred. And now they want us to remember moving forward that we need to remove those energies of grief for the things we've had to let go, because ultimately we were either giving or taking too much, right? We got a lot of scales going on here, and know that those scales are calibrating and that good things are coming moving forward into 2018. It really is. I promise you that wonderful things are coming in this next year. So everybody have a wonderful week, and thank you so much for watching. And I'll tell you Merry Christmas in the next reading next week. But Merry Christmas Eve to you. And happy winter solstice this week. Thank you so much. Bye.